You're welcome to News Insight. Gentlemen, we are talking about Toby, we are talking about Indonesia, and a lot of people have questions, a lot of people have a kind of commendations, like, oh, Obi is always trying to be factual in anything he wants to do. But before we really dive into his visits and what he found and the indices and the numbers he has compared, particularly since 2014 now, at Obi's level, you don't think, Philip, help us make sense of it. You don't think any kind of movement he wants to make should be pre-announced, like a lot of, he's going for understudy like he claimed, maybe a committee of so person, a number of so person going with him. Everything appears to always be on a solo base. Him. Yeah, we love his energy. Every Nigerian love his energy to be everywhere almost at the same time. But we also want him to like have these crops of carrying some elements along so that they underlearn and also have a way of having second eye to it. For example, something like Obi will be visiting Indonesia next week. The purpose of his visit is this, blah, 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 blah. Number of so is this. The criteria of selecting those going to work with him on this mission is this. Because now Obi is an icon in Nigeria. You can't push him away. What do you think, Barrister Philip?
I think I want to commend you for your question, trying to find out why Obi visit is not pre-announced. And again, we don't specify people we travel with. Remember, Obi is not in government.
Yeah.
Obi is a private person.
Yeah.
And Obi is this Nigerian who is preparing for leadership.
Yeah.
And he doesn't shy away from it. Pre-2023 election, Obi went to Egypt to understudy their power setup to ensure that if the Nigeria gives him the mandate, he will fix the power sector in Nigeria. It doesn't mean that if it's not announced that Obi travel with SYZ, Obi usually travel with entourage.
Okay.
People he feel he will work with. Obi has people he travel with, but it won't be as demand that is in office who will say because they want to steal money. Those announcements they are talking about we are used to in this country. It's an avenue to siphon the public money. I remember that Obi is using his personal money.
Okay, good. This is a good underground because a lot of people are asking that question. This opportunity for them to know that Obi is actually working with people. He's not a lonely Londoner.
Exactly. Yes. Obi has been consistent. Obi is all about costs. Why carrying crowd? Obi always believe in cost containment. He always believe in cutting costs of governance. So he will show you by how you do your own business. So him going there to study these countries, he's going with probably 1 or 2 persons to cut costs. He's not being funded by government. Yeah. He's being funded from his own pocket. He's trying to expand his horizon, his capacity. So if you understand that, he's not a jamboree stuff.
One of the problems Labour Party, in quotes, or Obi, let's not just say Labour Party, it's all about Obi. Let's sincerely put it that way. Faced in the last election was issue of, no matter how you look at it, structure, command and control. Nobody is omnipresent. That is an how do I call it? A metrics left for God.
Yes.
That metrics is left for God. So nobody is omnipresent. No matter how strong, energetic, and all that you are, on a voting day, you have to be in your village. Okay. So because of that, people are saying for somebody, not necessarily this cost, and if you draw the graph, there's an optimal point where you have to balance it. That a second eye and another person's opinion on a matter will always be relevant. And his ability to have organized command and control structure with which he would use to rule Nigeria should he contest in 2027 and win. People are questioning that, and this is probably the opportunity to have to ventilate it more. Can we only say because of cost? If based on what Peter said, because of cost, only you, for example, let's extremize it, only you would travel to study a power sector, study a health sector, study, what is it called, poverty alleviations if it is a setup anyway. So things like that. Without, if you think first-hand experience, you need it. You don't think all other people need it.
I don't, you see, we have said on this platform, on this table, that we need one good head. And one of the reasons why our leadership fail in this country, they don't prepare for it.
Okay.
Obi, what he is doing is preparing for leadership. Yes, one man cannot be everywhere, but what Obi is doing is to enable him to pick the right person for each ministry and agencies to work on his behalf. You know, when you take people along, okay, for instance, the man is preparing for leadership. He goes to to Indonesia. He goes with 10 persons. Then he allotted to them. You go to understudy head sector. You go for power sector. You go for this.
Even though they are with him, being with
he
him.
won't have that knowledge. But if he
no. The one we are saying is being with him, because we are trying to also let Nigerians know.
Yes.
When they raise these questions,
Yes.
oftentimes Obi's camp don't answer them, and we are trying to ventilate and let them know what Obi is doing.
What Obi is doing, this is my opinion and understanding,
Yes.
is for you to be grounded on this sector, because these people are in Nigeria, people who are going to man those things. We have always said that we need a round peg for a round hole and a square peg for a round hole.
Okay,
If you don't understand
enough of that.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
If you don't understand the setup properly, you won't pick the right person.
That's right.
And that's what Obi is doing. You need to understand the setup very well, so that when he's picking his cabinet, if God allow him to be president, he will pick the right person.
Excellent. So now let's get into what.
Jump in, please.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's not forget that Obi is a private citizen.
Yes.
So he doesn't need to cry to go and understand something, or to go and broaden his
Not necessarily
knowledge.
crowd. We're talking of optimum.
I can tell you for free, Obi did not travel alone.
Yeah, sure.
He did not travel alone.
No, now you are telling the people that he
He
didn't
did
travel
not travel alone.
Yeah.
He is studying to get more aware, to know. See, he can only succeed when you've studied where there's-
Okay. Now let's get into it. What are the index and the things he really dwelled on the travel? What were the things that made him to travel at all? Because a lot of people would say, "Oh, some of this information are all over the internet." Okay, now if he needs to travel, what are the significant impact of his travel?
Okay, now, our economy is quite bad. And it can only get better when you have studied developed economies.
Okay.
See, don't see this thing from afar.
Yeah.
He went in to go and see how come this people have been this successful in this area.
Yeah.
He looked at insecurity, which is ravaging our communities.
Mm-hmm.
How were they able to conquer it? Poverty alleviation.
Mm-hmm.
In 2004, I think the per capita income was a little bit above 1,000 for Indonesia.
Yeah.
But 2024, it's above 5,000.
Yeah.
How were they able to do it, achieve this? These are things he went to understudy. This thing, though, Obi might not end up being the president, but now he has this information. And he said something. He said, acquire this thing to share with Nigeria.
That's right.
It's not going to keep to himself. He is not trying to enrich himself by that. He is funny from his pocket.
Okay, Philip, obviously, I've always said it, there's no need to reinvent the wheels again. And what Nigerians are asking for in our governance are not the things that are not existing elsewhere. They are not the things that are not in other countries. As a matter of fact, Indonesia becomes very important in this analysis, because at some point, we were almost occupying at the same level. Like in 2004, you were talking about, Indonesia had about 1,100 and just slightly 1,000, specifically 1,136, yes, dollar.
And we're 936.
We're 963.
Yes.
We're 963 per capita as at that time. That was 2004.
Four, yeah.
And how many years down the line? In 2025, Indonesia has grown theirs to 5,000, from 1,000 to 5,000. And we have moved from 963 to not short of 1,000. So we practically haven't moved. So if he's comparing us with those who were at the same point before, I think it's a valid analysis. What are the gaps? What is it that caused that gap? What is it that made us not to even grow? Let's use Indonesia. What made us not to grow as much as them?
You see, it's a very good, valid question. You know, what made us to grow is before...
To not grow, actually.
To not grow.
We didn't move.
It's before me and you.
Yes.
Poor leadership.
Is it Peter is before me and you?
It's poor leadership. It's not only Indonesia.
Yes.
In Malaysia, for instance,
Yes.
came here to take our seedling for oil pantry. Today, they are exporting oil to Nigeria. You see? So, how do they grow? They have leaders who were focused, who knew where they were going, who were prepared to work for the people and their country. But the reverse is the case in Nigeria. We have leadership who were prepared to work for their unborn generation and themselves to destroy Nigeria for their own benefit. So you see the difference. That is why we could not grow. Where in 2004, the difference between us and Indonesia was few dollars away. But today, the difference between us and Indonesia is over $4,000.
Yes. That's
so is that not sad? Yes. What has happened? It's simple thing. It is leadership. Nobody is there to give us direction where to go.
Now, I want to pick this. It's a school of thought. A lot of people, I will also come to you, Philip. A lot of people have also felt that this leadership, that followership is a fraction of leadership, and I believe that. Do you think this poor leadership we are talking about, followership, has contributed and is also a part of it?
Leadership, they are amongst us.
Yes.
They elected from the crowd.
That's right.
They are the product of the system.
That's right.
The system is bad. This system need to be rejected. This system need to be changed. We will celebrate wealth without knowing the source of the wealth. That's part of the problem. You said something that our leaders, they acquire or care about their unborn children. That is the system they met. Somebody had to change it. And I don't blame people when they antagonize the presidency, honestly, because that office occupies a sensitive place in the country. The body language of who occupies there says a lot.
Now, for example, issues of a president buying private jets.
It says a lot. So
when we have some.
People are like our friend here is not here, PK. He is of the opinion that our governors are not doing enough. And my issue with that is that what is the number one man doing? See, we copy from who is above us. So what he does, translate down. So we're not seeing the right leadership. I'm not actually attacking the government, but I'm saying what he is. We've not seen the right leadership for Nigeria.
Almost at every level.
For a long while. And the decay has been consistent and steady.
So now, Philip, he tends to agree with me that followership is a fraction of leadership as it is today, because eventually, as a matter of fact, the sovereignty, the power they enjoy at a leadership or level is given to them by the followers. Now, how come these followers, they are the ones complaining, but they have not been able to project or promote or support somebody that truly reflects their complaint? Rather, they will still fall for this set of nucleus that has held this country hostage.
Yes, I agree that the leader is the follower are part of the problem of the leadership. To a large extent, I do not agree. You know why I say so? Because I've always said it here that look, we need one good head to turn the situation around. Like he said, we need to reject the system. How do you reject the system if the leader lives like the followers? What is leadership, for instance? If we define the word leadership, it's a man who gives direction.
And walks,
exactly.
Goes along, others follow.
Follows. If you put yourself forward that you want to lead, and you get there, you are not leading.
Now. Where we come into this is this.
Yes.
These leaders don't jump in nobody jumps and become president.
Yes.
People make the person president.
Yes.
Why can't the followers make? Because let me tell you.
Yes.
Sorry to digress slightly.
Yes.
People supported Trump but didn't want Trump to be president. What is happening is Trump presidency.
Yes.
That's what Trump would do.
Definitely.
You can't vote in Trump and expect Trump not to be Trump.
Yes.
So that's what we're saying.
Yes.
You can't now vote in anyhow person.
Yes.
You know the person in idiosyncrasies.
Yes.
You know his precedence.
Yes.
And now you are complaining the leader is not doing well. Who did you put there? That's why the followers, you can't remove the followers.
That's what I'm saying. You cannot give what you don't have.
That's right.
People had offered themselves that they want to lead. The masses have said, that's why I said I agree with you to a large extent.
Yes.
Because of crumbs falling from the table of the criminal, they said they don't want that man to lead them. And they are complaining. We've said it here over and over and over until the people now decide that look, we'll do the right thing.
Until the people decide.
Yes. So vote the right person
And
who have the right leadership.
That's right.
We need, both everybody are contributing.
No, Peter, the time, I think our time is against us. Electoral process, for example, we can't push this away. Each time we're talking about P2B and talking about all these things, we have to get there. Because one thing we know is that voting and counting is part of the electoral process. Yeah. But followers, or some of our followers, think once you voted, the counting doesn't really matter anymore. Do you understand? our electoral process is not too similar with what you have in Indonesia that will be traveled to. Because it's about putting the right leader. How do we leverage in getting the right leader?
To me, our electoral process,
Very quickly.
Our electoral process is not the issue. It's our political class. They've divided us along ethnic group, religious group, for a selfish interest. What do you expect from a man that have not seen food, that was unable to feed his family on election day, when he has option of taking 10,000 naira and put against his conscience? He will think first about his stomach. That is the place they've placed us. So most Nigerians know what is right because of the way they are. Most of the present reality, they are doing the otherwise. And this thing has been orchestrated by the political class. Someone will say the followers producing a wrong candidate. It is because of this institution they've established.
Okay, so eventually,
So it's going to be hard for us to get it right.
okay. The time is already against us, so the time is not on our side. But this institution will have to find the way of crushing them. And at the end of the day, the box, they force back to the people. Because if the person you elected to be your leader is not moving you like the way Indonesia moved themselves from the places, the positions they occupied in 2004 to 2025, like will be observed, we should have a rethink of how to do it. We can't remain helpless until arrive at a Nigeria that works for everybody. I think that's where we'll be taking it up for this time. This is Stay News Insights. We'll be right back. Thank you.